I try my best to keep you guys as up to date as possible on this whole NHS Palantir contract news. It just seems like we've been waiting forever. Delay after delay after delay. But today we have some new information that may give us further insight into when we can actually expect to hear. I want to give credit to Palantir Chad over on X for making me aware of this. Let's look at the article. This article was released by Digital Health and the title is FDP Procurement Awaiting Full Business Case Approval, says Tang. You read a little bit further on here. Ming Tang has told the AI and data audience that the procurement process for the Federated Data Platform, the FDP, is awaiting full business case approval. What's going on here? Well, for those of you who don't know, this FDP, this Federated Data Platform, is exactly what Palantir is in the bid for. They are one of the suppliers that the NHS may decide to go with. We were originally meant to hear whether Palantir was awarded this contract at the end of September. I think it was September the 28th. We didn't hear anything. That then got pushed out to mid-October. Didn't hear anything. That got moved to the end of October. It is now the 1st of November. We still haven't heard. Tomorrow is a really big day for Palantir investors because we will be getting the Q3 earnings. But yet we still don't know what's going on with this NHS contract. And now we're hearing that actually there's further delay because they are waiting for full business case approval. So what is a business case? Well, from what I understand, it's basically a big document that outlines the rationale for a particular project or investment to happen. So it will talk about the cost of the project, any risks associated, the benefits, why they need it, and even the timeline for implementation. Now, business cases are required for particularly large and complex projects. So I'm not surprised at all that it is necessary for this FDP supplier procurement process and the FDP in general, but I'm a little bit confused. Why are they now only awaiting the business case approval? Wouldn't this have happened previously and now they're ready to announce, given that we were originally told that we would hear on the 28th of September? So I'm not really sure what is going on here. And I also know that a business case approval can be quite a lengthy process. So I'm also not sure whether they're only just starting that and we actually won't be hearing anytime soon, or are they in the middle of the approval process, or even are they at the end of it? We don't really know. We'll see if this article tells us any more information. The fact that the procurement process for the FDP is still happening and it's still going on suggests to me that we're not yet going to be hearing about this if what we're seeing is exactly what's happening. But also there has been a lot of concerns, a lot of noise that Palantir have the advantage. They are the clear front runner for this and it's not really been a fair procurement process. I don't think that's the case, and I think that this suggests that they are going through the correct process indeed. Having said this, I am also wondering whether this has already all happened. They know who they're going with and they're just sort of buying themselves some time to soften the blow and figure out how to actually make this announcement. You will know, if you have followed this journey at all, that there has been a lot of data concerns. People are really concerned that the supplier of the FDP will have access to data, and they are particularly concerned that if Palantir get awarded this contract, this big US so-called spy company will then access the data, misuse the data, sell the data, and share the data. That's not the case. That's not how Palantir works, but those concerns are still very much out there. We did have Alex Karp being interviewed on the BBC a few days ago. That was a very interesting and juicy interview. I made a whole video on that. I'll link it up here now if you want to check it out after this one. But yeah, maybe they're just figuring this all out. I'm not really sure how the business case fits into the procurement process in general, but I would have imagined that that would have all been sorted before they actually start looking for the supplier, that they would have got the approval on why this is necessary. Then after that point, they would have gone and found a supplier. It doesn't make sense to me to do it the other way around. That's why I think maybe something else is going on here and maybe they're just trying to figure out how to actually make this announcement. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. So let's continue reading on here. The Chief Data and Analytics Officer at NHS England opened the data and research stage on day 2 of the Digital Health AI and Data and confirmed that as per normal procurement rules, a full business case approval would indeed be required ahead of, they've left that out, of an official announcement of who the FDP supplier will be. In response to a question regarding widespread concern about the FDP, and we know there has been many concerns, Tang said, "I understand there are data concerns. That affects trust in platforms." She also explained that the FDP is not about creating a big data lake and that comparisons to care.data are wrong. It seems like no matter how many times the NHS themselves, different people that research Palantir and the FDP situation in general, even Palantir, no matter how many times everyone says the data is not accessed, it's not stolen, it's not sold, whatever, people are still very much concerned. And then she makes reference to this care.data. So you might be wondering what is that and why it's relevant here. The care.data program was a national program in England that was basically all about collecting data, extracting data from GP practices and putting all of that data into a centralized database and then sharing that with third parties. So researchers, different government agencies, sharing it with all those people in order to try and improve quality and efficiency of healthcare. This was launched in 2013, but it actually then failed in 2016, and it failed because of public concern about data privacy and security. You're probably starting to see the link here between the FDP and the public concerns that are happening and this care.data program that was launched back in 2013. Concerns about data privacy and security. And this care.data and the FDP isn't the first time that the NHS have tried to improve how they utilize their data. They have tried many times before centralizing their data to make treatment easier, and every time before it's failed because of public concern and also because what they were doing just wasn't good enough. Is this time going to be different, or are the public going to be so concerned that actually it does impact the FDP? Whether Palantir get that or not, is it actually going to be useful because of public uproar? I don't know. But I do think that Palantir are the right company to really help here. She's made it loud and clear here that comparisons to care.data are wrong. Of course, there are comparisons to be drawn in terms of public uproar and opposition to either the FDP or care.data, what we saw back in the past. And also the idea of utilizing data better, having it in a centralized database. Links are there. But with the care.data, as far as I understand, the data was actually shared with third parties, and that is definitely not what's happening with the FDP. Whichever supplier gets this contract will not have access to patients' data, and they definitely won't be able to share it with anyone else. So reading on here, Tang also spoke about the Data Saves Lives strategy just over 1 year after its release, admitting that progress has slowed a little bit and has not been as fast as they would like in some areas. The Data Saves Lives strategy is a government strategy that was released in 2022 in the UK, and it sets out a plan for how data can be used to improve healthcare of the population in a safe, trusted and transparent way. So she's saying that this strategy has slowed in its progress and has not been as fast as they would like in some areas. I would think that with the FDP situation going on now and introducing that into the NHS, now would actually be the time to be ramping this up and trying to provide people with information about how an FDP works, about how the supplier of the FDP will be interacting or not interacting with patients' data. I think that would really help because anyone that understands Palantir and how it works, the platforms, aren't very concerned about the data security side of it. And then looking further on into this article, they start speaking about how they're going to be working to a much more fluid and flexible roadmap for data and analytics. They talk about a different program here. And then it goes on. There's not much in the last bit that we really need to discuss. But I do think that this highlights that as nice as it would be to hear an announcement before earnings or even shortly after earnings tomorrow, it might not happen like that. And remember as well, Palantir are not going to be the ones actually announcing this contract. The announcement is going to very much come from the NHS. So we're going to have to wait and see. I'm now thinking it's going to be into November, maybe even approaching the end of November. I don't know. I'm not getting my expectations up too much on this one. Let me know what your thoughts are on this in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in another one very shortly.